Exclamation point.
Yorktown is in the coastal plains region of Virginia. It's a few miles north of Jamestown, right along the banks of the York River.
Hey boys and girls, I'm David.
And I'm Frank.
And I'm Alfonso.
And I'm Brad.
And we're
the
Virginia
Virginia
Trekkers. And we're here today at the York River and Yorktown.
We're going to take a tour of the coastal plain and the York River.
We're going to find out how this York River was significant in the Revolutionary War.
And you're going to find out what other country might have helped the United States to win that war.
The York River is broad, as you can see in this video, but it's not very long. In fact, it's the shortest of the 4 major rivers that you need to learn about. This graph shows you that it's just 40 miles long. And on this map you can see that the York River is south of the Potomac and Rappahannock rivers, but north of the James River. Now let's zoom in a little bit. Virginia has 3 peninsulas, the Northern Neck, the Middle Peninsula, and the Virginia Peninsula. You can see the York River is between 2 of them. It is formed where the Pamunkey River and the Mattapony River connect. And if you've ever been swimming at Lake Anna, that also eventually drains into the York River.
Alright, this here is the York River. It's one of the 4 rivers that you have to know about Virginia. It's the one that's north of the James River. Now, the York River you're going to learn has some historical importance, but right now I just want to talk about what it's used for today. You can see there's a huge boat here. That's something that's cool about the York River. It's big enough that boats can go up and down it quite a ways. Not quite as far as the James River, but it's deep and wide. Let's all sing deep and wide. Alright.
The York River is in the coastal plains region, which is also known as the tidewater, because it's affected by the tides just like the ocean. So the York River has a high and a low tide.
Is this fresh water or salt water in this river here? Or brackish water?
It's brackish.
Oh, and it empties, it flows down into the Chesapeake Bay. That's where it empties into. So some of the Chesapeake Bay brackish water is in this river.
That's all salt water.
You tasted it? Yeah. And Frank just tasted it and he said it's salty.
Hey boys and girls, we're going to talk about the coastal plain. Remember, the coastal plain is low, flat, and has some swampy lands to it. Remember, we start off in the east, so we're starting off from low, and then as we go west, we're getting higher. So remember, what do you need to know about the coastal plain? Low, flat, swampy. Let me hear you say it. Good job.
Because of its location along the banks of the York River, Yorktown was an important trading center during the 1700s. It was a place where tobacco could be sold and loaded onto ships. But during the Revolutionary War, it was the site of the final battle. British troops occupied Yorktown in the fall of 1781, so George Washington led American and French troops to surround the city. France also sent ships to block the river so that England could not get help or supplies. If we zoom out a bit, you can see that France was blocking not only the York River, but also the James River and the Chesapeake Bay. So the British troops in Yorktown were cut off from any help, and on October 17, 1781, they surrendered. This marked the end of the Revolutionary War.
Alright, let's travel back to 1781. We're still on the banks of the York River. General Washington and some French commanders had come up with a plan to help defeat the British.
That's right, Frank. So what happened was the French Navy blocked the English Navy from coming into the Chesapeake Bay, from being able to help out the English Army, which was stationed right here at this fort in Yorktown. So what happened was we were bombing this fort for about 2 weeks, which eventually led to the surrender by the English general. And so what happened after that, the fighting went on sporadically for about a year because England still had the major ports in New York and in Charlestown, South Carolina. But the English Parliament finally decided not to fund the war anymore, and the Treaty of Paris resulted in 1783.
We hope you enjoyed our Yorktown podcast. Next stop, the Blue Ridge Mountain region.